5, 4, 3, 2, 1. See how I said that right there?
Yes. So that's when you know it's recording.
Well, it's recording through lavalier mics.
Got it. Good morning, guys.
Yeah. So, today is Monday for us, Tuesday morning for you guys. We are here in the Rocha household, and the cat is right there listening to the devotional.
Like always.
Yeah. So as soon as we sat down, now she's sound asleep.
No, she's still listening.
Or she's in prayer.
Yeah.
She's laid out like she got slain in the spirit or something. Look. Yeah, so.
It's funny.
Anyways, guys, today was a hot day over here, man. I had no idea it was supposed to be hot or warm or whatever. It was in the 90s, but it felt like it did last week.
Yeah, it did. It was dry, really dry heat, that's why.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So,
piercing dry heat.
Yeah. So anyways, guys, yesterday, I know yesterday's devotional was short. It was just kind of more of a show and tell because we went to that event with Chris Tomlin and Phil Wickman and Brother Danny and Margaret. But today, we have a passage that Sharon brought up to me, and it's funny because she brought this passage up, and I had never connected this New Testament verse that actually we went over on Wednesday's Bible study. Mm-hmm. And it was funny because I'd never connected it, but yet it's interesting, you know, when you talk about it, what it says in the Old Testament, which we're going to do, and kind of how that New Testament ties in. Because even though I taught on it and discussed it, last Wednesday. Anyways, I don't want to get ahead of myself.
My eyes hurt, sorry.
Your peepers?
Yeah, remember I told you they've been burning a lot.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, it was hot, man.
Yeah.
Look at these little miniature waters.
I know. It's like we drink them up in 2 gulps.
Yeah. So.
Little jokes. Little jokes of a water.
Yeah. What else? I don't know what else. I don't know.
I don't know either.
Yeah, but in a few hours after this, by the time you watch this, in a few hours, sometime during the day, I'm going to release another interview discussion.
Cool.
Yeah, so anyways, yesterday, after service, before going to the event, we sat down to eat. And we were eating with Danny and Margaret and
Naomi and Daniel.
Yeah, Naomi and Daniel. And because they'd followed us to Stockton because Danny was going to leave their car here at our house, and from here we were going to go to Concord. But anyways, we all went to eat first, you know, coming from church. And, you know, we just start talking about different stuff. Is this like, Oh, I feel like I was in the middle of the screen and you were in the edge. So I was like.
I was on the edge.
Oh. But I was like this. And usually that light thing isn't covered. There. I think, right? Is that better? What do you guys think? Is that better, guys?
Okay. Keep saying. Keep talking.
So we were just talking, and you know, both of them are younger couples than us. A little bit. I ain't that old. A little bit younger. And anyways, we just started discussing stuff and joking around, and then I'm just like, please don't tell me you guys let your ladies put gas in the car at the gas station. And we're just joking around, giving them a hard time.
Well, I said something about them driving first.
Yeah. And so anyways, we were just talking and discussing and different things. And so anyways, this topic today kind of stems from that conversation, right?
Yeah, it just sparked up, you know. It's been a while since I've read the whole Bible through from the beginning to the end. And I just decided, I've never done the audio, you know. I've always read it, like physically read it. But this time I said, you know what, I'm gonna do an audio because I went for a walk this morning, and I did the audio, and I was just listening to it. I was started from Genesis all over again, and I had just caught something in Genesis. So, do you want to go to it now?
Yeah.
All right.
So if we go to Genesis, which is the first book of the Bible, in case you don't
start
know.
with Genesis 2.
Yeah, Genesis chapter 2, verse 20.
Yeah.
And this is the whole creation story and all that stuff. But verse 20, there's a word here that never jumped out at me that Sharon brought a point to. And it says, so Adam gave names to all cattle, to the birds of the air, and to every beast of the field. But for Adam, there was not found a helper comparable to him.
Yep. So the word comparable.
Are you going to read it, though?
Oh, yes. Oh, my God, I forgot. Duh, Sharon. I always read it out of here. Okay, so David reads it out of the New King James, and I'll be reading it out of the Message. Okay, whatever the man called each living creature, that was its name. The man named the cattle, named the birds of the air, named the wild animals, but he didn't find a suitable companion. Nice.
All right, so this is crooked. Was that right?
Now you put it like this.
Did I?
Yeah. Right there, babe.
Yeah?
Yeah, you're fine.
Okay, so did you want to talk about this first, right? Before we go into the next
Whatever
portion?
you want.
Yeah, so
Break it down for them.
This is what I found interesting when she asked me about this verse, actually. She's like, check this verse out. That word comparable. And it's funny because I'd never really caught that word, but yet Sharon says, that doesn't say equal. It says comparable. So what does comparable mean? And then you looked up comparable. Yeah. What is comparable?
Comparable, of a person or thing able to be likened to one another. And then on top of that, sorry, let me get out of here. On top of that, I wanted to know what the difference was between comparable and equal. And as nouns, the difference between equal and comparable is that equal is a person or thing of equal status to others, while comparable is something suitable for comparison.
Interesting. So, didn't say that God made us equal, made comparable. And here's the thing, right, is that, think about it, right? A lot of people right now, you got flustered at that because you're adding your own definition. Because you automatically assume if I say we're not equal, then that means one is less than.
Yeah.
That is not the definition of that. You know, think about it. Okay, it's not the definition of that. You know, it's different, but none is less. Okay, I'll give you a perfect example. 5 plus 5 equals 10. 7 plus 3 equals 10. Is one superior over the other? No. Mm-mm. They both equal to 10, but it's different.
Yeah, but it's
in comparison. Mm-hmm. You know, and I thought that was interesting because I never thought of that point. And it all stems from the conversation we were having, you know, of kind of like giving him a hard time because he's like, yeah, and you know what? One of the brothers like, you know what? I don't always put gas. Sometimes I say in the car. And we're just giving him a hard time, you know, he looked kind of embarrassed and stuff. And we weren't like, you know, we were just conversating, messing around, joking around, you know what I mean? Just talking, fellowship, you know? And, but it's interesting how the word comparable is there, not equal, you know? And actually, that's actually a good thing. It doesn't mean one is lesser than. It simply means there's two different purposes there.
Yes, exactly.
Okay? If you have a, man, I should have thought of a better example. Actually, I don't have an example. My mind went blank. My mind went completely blank. Okay, this is probably a silly one. Since I like to paint, okay? And the way they used to, you know how if you ever look at history, all the famous paintings are oil paintings. You know, I paint in acrylic because that's a fairly new medium to paint in. But back in the day, paint was actually very expensive and hard to get. Certain colors were hard to get. That's why, for instance, if you saw a painting with purple or blue, it was worth more because it was harder to get that color. Here's why. They would find spices, flowers, whatever.
Yeah. They derived it from that.
Yeah, they would crush, so let's say they found purple flowers. They'd crush the flowers, dry them up until it was a powder form. And then they mixed it into a linseed oil. Mm-hmm. And the linseed oil gave it its fluidity, you know, but the color gave it its color, or else it's just oil. So in other words, the flowers weren't any more important than the linseed oil, and the linseed wasn't any more important than the flower. They actually complemented each other. They were comparable to each other, and together they were able to make something beautiful. Mm-hmm. Neither was superior.
No.
You can't do if you have a whole bunch of ground purple flowers that were going to make an amazing color. Didn't matter.
Yeah.
You can't throw powder on a canvas. It had to be mixed with the linseed oil. You know, so in the same way, that's how I see that verse where it says, you know, what is it saying? It says, for Adam there was not found a helper comparable to him. So the object was never to make something equal to him, but to make something comparable to him.
Yeah, something suitable.
Which is a perfect example. Okay, since we're friends, right? We're all friends. Perfect example. I am nothing like Sharon. Mm-mm. And she is nothing like me.
But I believe I compliment you and you compliment me.
In the very beginning, that was frustrating at times because we didn't understand that. I guess we did understand that, but it's when you understand something, it's hard to see that in your own circle of life.
Yeah.
So, for example, I am not an organizer. I am not an administrative person. I am not. No. Sharon is. She would get upset at me because I wasn't putting things in order. Instead of realizing that maybe that's how she compliments me in one of the many ways. And there's things I compliment her in. And sometimes we think that you're supposed to meet somebody that is equal to you. Well, that's just double the trouble. That is not. You need to find somebody comparable to you. Somebody different that will complement you in the same way the powdered flowers complemented the linseed oil, and the linseed oil complemented the powdered flowers, and together they were able to be something beautiful.
Well, here's the thing. Well, that was going to be my next thing. When you have something that is comparable and you're able to do that, what it does, it brings out the best of that thing. And I believe that when you have something that's suitable and comparable, what it does, it brings the best out of you. And what is our Creator always? What does He always do? Brings the best out of us. Mm-hmm. He always wants the best out of us.
Yeah.
And that's the whole purpose. Mm-hmm. You know, so it just, I don't know. I think that really stood out to me. And then after, well, we'll go on to the next one.
Yeah. So that's one thing that jumped out. And then this next verse, which is in chapter 3, same within Genesis. Mm-hmm. Chapter 3, I already forgot the verse. Where's it at?
I think it was 17, was it?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Is it?
Yes. 17.
It is?
Mm-hmm.
Or you mean when you keep going?
Yeah.
Okay. So verse 17, chapter 3:17 says, then Adam said, so this is now after the fall.
Yep.
Okay, after the fall, after Eve eats and she gives Adam and Adam eats too, and then they're hiding in the garden, they cover themselves in giant leaves and that whole story. And now we're at this point where the Lord comes and rebukes them. And he says this, first of all, he has this conversation with the woman. No, he has a conversation with Adam, I'm sorry. And Adam's like, why are you telling me it's her fault? And then she goes, why are you telling me it's that serpent's fault? Everybody passes the buck. And then the gavel drops and God gives judgment. That's what happens, right? Mm-hmm. So he looks at the man. This is interesting, right? It says, then to Adam, he said, because you have heeded the voice of your wife and have eaten from the tree of which I commanded you. That's one thing too. He goes, I didn't tell her. I told you. Mm-hmm. I commanded you, saying you shall not eat of it. And then he goes and says this, cursed is the ground for your sake. In toil you shall eat of it all the days of your life. There?
No, keep going.
Okay, verse 18. Both thorns and thistles it shall bring forth for you, and you shall eat the herb of the field. Oh, here's the part 19.
Yes.
In the sweat of your face. Oh, sweaty today too, man.
Keep going.
In the sweat of your face you shall eat bread till you return to the ground. For out of it you were taken, for dust you are, and to dust you shall return.
Keep going. There's actually one.
Well,
Keep going.
and Adam called his wife's name Eve, because she was the mother of all living. Also for Adam and his wife, the Lord God made tunics of skin and clothed them. Keep going.
Yeah, when he tells him that he's the toil.
Then the Lord God said, behold, the man has become one like us, one of us, to know good and evil. And now lest he put out his hand and take also of the tree of life and eat and live forever. Therefore the Lord God sent him out of the Garden of Eden to till the ground from which he was taken. So he drove out the man and placed cherubim, which are angels, certain types of angels, at the east of the Garden of Eden, and a flaming sword which turned every way to guard the way to the tree of life.
Yep. Get to work, dude. All right. He told the man, because you listened to your wife and ate from the tree that I commanded you not to eat from, don't eat from this tree. The very ground is cursed because of you. Getting food from the ground will be as painful as having babies is for your wife. You'll be working in pain all your life long. The ground will spout thorns and weeds. You'll get your food the hard way, planting and tilling and harvesting, sweating in the fields from dawn to dusk, until you return to that ground yourself, dead and buried. You started out as dirt, you'll end up as dirt. The man known as Adam named his wife Eve because she was the mother of all living. God made leather clothing for Adam and his wife and dressed them. God said, the man has become like one of us, capable of knowing everything ranging from good to evil. What if he now should reach out and take fruit from the tree of life and eat and live forever? Never. This cannot happen. So God expelled them from the Garden of Eden and sent them to work the ground, the same dirt out of which they had been made. He threw them out of the garden and stationed angel cherubim and a revolving sword of fire east of it, guarding the path to the tree of life.
Yeah.
I think that one was a little bit more.
So, bad news, guys. You gotta work. You gotta provide. You have to take care of your family. You have to do, and don't get me wrong, man. I've made my mistakes in the past. Obviously, I ended up in prison because I tried to take the easy route. I tried to take shortcuts. I tried to take shortcuts in everything to bring income, do whatever it was I was going to do. But that was a time before Christ. And so we got to understand that even right here, he found somebody, he made somebody comparable to him, not equal, but to complement, to be like. But also in the second passage that we read is that when the fall of man came, he told Adam, you got to work, and it's just, it's interesting to see that and see how things are now.
Yeah. I think we've come so far to the point where I think, like now in this century, in this generation, women, we try to, I guess we try to be equal, or we try to be, and there's nothing wrong with, wanting to be successful. There's nothing wrong with wanting to be somebody who has a career or who has good things going for them or anything like that. But when you try to constantly compete with men, or constantly put yourself equal and just be better than, or want to hold the pants in your home, and if you have a husband and you constantly want to override and not let that man rise up to be the man in the home, then that's a problem. That can create a problem in the home.
Yeah.
A really big problem. In a sense, it's like, then why is the man even there for? That's the way I see it. I really believe that, I think that a man in the home should lead the home. And I think sometimes as women, we need to be there to encourage that, and to pray for the men in our home, and to encourage them, for them to be the ones to lead.
Yeah.
Because by really, really, when I was listening to this, I'm like, man, Lord, sometimes we miss the mark. We really, really miss the mark.
Growing up, my mom made a lot of decisions because my dad worked a lot. Mm-hmm. He works, as soon as the sun was up, he had to be working out in the fields. He was a tractor driver for a huge farm in Tracy. And usually he didn't come home till the sun went down. Usually. I mean, sometimes he would, get home, but when it was a really busy season.
Yeah.
So day-to-day stuff, my mom, made the decisions in the house and whatnot as far as whatever had to be done with me and my brothers. Yeah. She's the one that paid the bill. She's the one that did the things. But here's another thing though, is that my mom respected the big decisions to my dad. Yeah. And that's just the way it was. My dad did not come home and micromanage my mom. He trusted my mom to make the right decisions, to pay the bills that had to be paid, to whatever, even disciplining us or raising us or the schools or whatever, stuff like that. But there was not going to be a big decision that my mom would make without my dad.
Yeah, it's the same way it is here.
And that's just the way it was, That's just the way it was. My dad, and here's the thing, right? If my mom ever made a wrong decision that my dad disagreed with, we would have never known. Yeah. Because it wasn't our business. Because that would have been wrong for us to see my dad basically do that to my mom or say something or whatever in front of us. Yeah. Because even before too, there's times where I don't like arguing in front of Abraham or Matthew. I don't like that. There's a few times where I think I had to tell you, like, why are you saying this in front? This is in the beginning, like when we're just newlyweds and just getting to
be like, can we not talk about this right now?
Yeah, sometimes you wanted to, I think, and I'm just like, I don't know if that's what you were used to or not, and I wasn't used to that. I'm just like, what are you doing? But that's not right. And I think some parents, you put your business way out there too much for your kids. Yeah. That have no business, and here's the thing, you're damaging them. Yeah. Because they will either lose respect for you or the other parent or vice versa or both of you. Yeah. And I know, I get it. Sometimes people say, oh, they got to know the reality. No, they don't. not that reality, not like that, because you got to understand that their minds are not yet fully formed yet, and because of that, it'll damage them, And anyways, that's a whole other video.
And in the same way, the respect and the joy and the peace and all of that they see within the home is what they also pick up as well.
Yeah.
When you have that, and I think that's important as well. And guys, that can happen also in a blended family. As you guys know, Abraham and Matthew here, when there's something specific that they want to do or they want to go somewhere, Abraham will come and ask, and I'll be like, well, why don't you talk to David about it? And if he decides that it's okay, then I'm okay with it. And what I'm doing there is I'm actually getting, I'm having David be the one to make the decision, not because, just because he's the man of the house, but also because I believe that the moment I married him, he became like his father, and I need to give him that reverence and that honor as the father, and also because he is the head of this household. And I want my boys, no matter, regardless of what age they are, yes, they're 18, 19 years old or whatever, but this is their household and they need to respect that. And I believe that by them learning to communicate with him and everything, that they'll always be open with him and that they'll always respect him and come to him and know that, whatever decisions we make, it's going to be made by him, and then I'll approve it once it's made by David, So, and I think that that's something that we've been able to do, and they respect it, guys. If he says no, it's a no, and it is what it is, and they respect it. They don't say nothing else. They don't come and complain to me or nothing. They'll just say like, what, David said no, and all right, he said no. It's good.
Yeah, even when Abraham was young, because he didn't know, they moved from Southern California, and his favorite color is red. I'm like, I'm sorry, but no, you're not gonna wear red.
Yeah.
I didn't let my boys yet wear red.
Yeah.
Now it's different now. Now it's a little bit different because the color thing ain't really a deal the way it was. You know what I mean? But still, I guess in Stockton it still is, because that cruising we went to, you saw a lot of Norteños around.
Yeah. But now he kind of wears like the burgundies,
Yeah, but he doesn't look like a street guy. None of my sons do.
Yeah.
So I guess it's different. But that was a worry that I had, is I didn't want them to be influenced by that.
Yeah.
And all of a sudden start wearing red and stuff, and it's just not going to fly here. But I told you I was going to show you a New Testament verse. Remember earlier in the video?
Yes.
And we talked about it on Wednesday Bible study, but it's this one. It's 1 Timothy, because we've been studying 1 Timothy chapter 5, verse 8. And I taught on this verse Wednesday. We talked about it. We discussed it. But I never put two and two together of why this is so bad. Never did until I read it. And it goes like this, 1 Timothy 5:8. It says, "But if anyone does not provide for his own, and especially for those of his household, he has denied the faith and is worse than an unbeliever."
Anyone who neglects to care for family members in need repudiates the faith. That's worse than refusing to believe in the first place.
Yeah, so I'm like, man, Paul, why are you getting so hard, man? It's like, like you're saying that if I don't work, I'm worse than a non-believer. Like I'm worse than a heathen. I'm worse than an atheist. He's like, yeah, you're worse than an atheist because you know better, because you should know better. Yeah. And it's funny because talking about the first context of back in Genesis, he said, you are going to work until you die. That's just the way it's going to be. If anyone does not provide for his own, especially for those of his household, he has denied the faith and is worse than an unbeliever. So you can't get around it. Obviously now there's different jobs. You don't necessarily have to work the ground, and that's why I always want the kids to be educated. You know, I mean, like my son David, he works at a warehouse. He's like, Dad, it ain't hard. You know, this and that. I was like, it ain't hard because you're 19.
Yeah.
I said, but if you don't get an education or a trade or something,
Yeah.
try doing that when you're 39,
Yeah.
49. Because if you do warehouse work now and don't further yourself, you're going to waste away your body. And all they'll do is move you out the way and get somebody young again to waste their body.
Yeah.
You know, and that's what makes me a little bit nervous, because sometimes our daughters, boom, school, bam. They want to go, they get their associated, their bachelors. These boys, man, they just want to work and get money, and they're boys think short term.
Yeah.
Girls think long term.
Yeah, like my daughter too. My daughter's getting her master's, and Christopher's right now working on his master's in engineering, which is a good thing, you know.
After working labor for years.
After working,
now he's like, oh, heck no.
But, you know, and then Matthew just started his schooling and everything. And then Abraham finally decided, guys, that he wants to, you know, get what does he want to be, a surgical tech?
Yeah.
Yeah, he wants to go to school for surgical tech, you know, and I said, okay, you know, then do it, you know, and it's going to be a sacrifice, you know, what he's going to do, but I'm proud of him. But he's right, though. David's absolutely right, because he realizes that he doesn't want to be working, you know, these type of jobs all the time, that he just really wants to.
Yeah. Well, Abraham was working with my son David, the one that works in the warehouse.
Yeah.
He worked with him for 3 weeks, and he was exhausted.
Yeah.
Like he
goes in at 5 a.m, out, you know, till 5 o'clock sometimes, you know.
And sometimes it's good for them to work like that so they can see, because then maybe they'll listen and say, see, that's going to be the rest of your life.
Yeah.
That's going to be the rest of your life. You know what I mean?
It's a hard life.
And it is a hard life. And man, respect to those men, man, that do that, man.
Yeah.
And it's
hard work.
Hard work. You know, I can't do it. You know, I mean, I was a musician and a drug dealer my whole life. I didn't learn no trades, you know? So it's like, it's hard, you know? It's really hard. That's why it's like, there's no way I can go to a warehouse right now at 49. I'll break my back, you know what I mean? So it's like, I do paintings, I do whatever I need to do, planning for these films and movies, because it's rough, because we have to work, whether it's working with our labor or working with our brains, whatever it is, it's work, and we got to do what we have to do to provide.
Amen.
You know, and why? Because it was commanded in the very beginning. He says, you're going to work until you go back to dust.
Yeah.
You know, so this cat don't know that, though. She just
a lazy cat.
just laid out there, man. She don't know what work is. I think she thinks we're her pets. Think about it. She's like, they provide my food, they provide my water.
She thinks we're her slaves. Huh?
Yeah, they provide my kitty litter.
They clean it for me.
They clean it. They clean my stuff out of it. Like, yeah, they're mine. Crazy cat. You can get beat up right now. Look at her.
Leave her alone.
Crazy cat.
Oh my God, guys.
So anyways, guys, that's pretty much it. Good subject. I'm not sure what I'm going to call it yet, but you know what I called it, because I had to call it something when I uploaded it.
Yeah, guys, let's continue to pray for our families that need prayer. We have Sister Sonia, whose nephew is in the hospital with COVID and pneumonia in both of his lungs. You know, so please, you know, if you guys can please lift him up in prayer. Continue praying for Sister Maria Winther, who's in the hospital, and Brother Anthony. I know he was going to be going home soon. So let's keep praying for him, and let's continue to pray for Sister Rena and Anthony Trejo, you know, for Sister Rena, you know, as she goes to start her, I think she's going to be starting her chemo as well, you know, and so guys, let's just pray for our families, and just everybody, please, that the Lord just continue to keep his hand upon all our families all the time, because we know that the more that we seek and the more we seek him, the more the enemy is going to come and try to devour, and the more the enemy is going to come and try to divide and and just to try to cause havoc in our lives, in our families' lives, in our children's lives. He'll try any way that he can, but we just need to keep focused on him. And if we keep focused on him, there will be nothing that can come against us. Remember that there's no weapon that shall be formed against us, and we just got to remember that, and we've got to proclaim it, and we got to say it all the time, guys, and just know it and believe it. So, man, I just feel like we just need to continue to just pray for them daily,
Amen.
Yeah.
Alrighty, guys.
We love you guys.
Have a good day. God bless you. Hopefully the coffee was good.
Yes.
I never tell you guys, but if you're not subscribed, come on, man. We're trying to hit that 10,000. That's crazy. I went back on my Facebook because, guys, those of you that have Facebook, it shows you memories. And like last week, I scrolled on my memories because it shows you what you said that day, last year, 2 years, 3 years, 5 years ago. And then it was like, I was all happy because I'm like, hey, guys, I have 800 subscribers.
Aww.
But yeah, in all honesty, it's cool to subscribe if you like this channel, because that way if you hit that little bell after you subscribe, it gives you notifications every time there's a new video. Because even though we do these Monday through Friday and Wednesday and Sunday, once in a while we'll do a random live. Once in a while we'll do a random this or a random that. And if you do like this channel, that's a good way to support it.
Amen.
It's not like in church service where we have a little basket to drop your dollars in. What you can do is just subscribe. It's free.
Amen.
And that blesses us. It lets us know that you guys like this channel, and that's pretty much it.
Yep.
And if you are subscribed, then hit like on the video. If you already hit like, the thumbs down guy, I get sad when you don't hit a thumbs down. So make sure you hit.
I'm praying for you too, by the way.
I'm praying for his thumb.
His thumb must hurt by now.
Yeah. It's messed up because I kind of like him because it keeps him. It keeps me balanced.
I love him.
Because if I ever get a big head, his thumb's down, shrinks my head back down. So my ego doesn't ever get big headed.
I don't want you with a little head. You would look really weird with a little head.
Big old.
You'll be a big old guy with a little tiny head.
That's messed up.
I'm just serious.
All right, guys.
Jenny, I'm really happy about your bike, girl. I like that yellow sunshine bike. Better start riding it, girl. All right, guys. We love you guys.
Bye.
Bye.
And I'm going to finish this video with showing you what the cat looks like. See you later.
Lazy. Lazy.
This is what I see. She's literally right next to me.
Lazy. Lazy kitty. Kitty is so lazy. Yes, you.
Oh, she just paid.
Look at her. Look at her little eyes. Look at her eye. Kitty. Look at her. She's looking at.
Well, you don't gotta act like you're slain in the spirit. Quit faking it.
She's so funny.
All right, guys. Bye.
Look at her. She's lazy. And she covers her face. Look at her.